Smoke rising from the Cairngorms today as the major wildfire continues to burn. First Minister John Swinney visited the site this morning to see the damage for himself before thanking those who've been fighting to stop the flames. The First Minister has been meeting those at the heart of the fire here in the Cairngorms, both those who have been fighting it on the front line and also speaking to others who want to help prevent anything similar from happening again. Today, organisations told John Swinney a dedicated air service must be made available to help tackle wildfires.
On day one, helicopters were not available. Fires are often won or lost in that early stage, and it is high time that Scotland and indeed the rest of the UK had a dedicated aerial capability to deal with the growing frequency and risk of wildfires we're seeing.
It was 36 hours into the Cairngorms blaze before a helicopter could be drafted in to water-bomb the area. In light of the Cairngorms and the blaze at Arthur's Seat, it's something the First Minister says the government will consider.
Obviously, aerial support has been fundamental to trying to extinguish this fire, and we have to make it possible for that to be readily available in such circumstances. So the government will take away those points and those reflections from the local community and the experience here in Strathspey and consider that as part of our response in relation to the resources and the equipping of the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service.
Community leaders and groups say they must be consulted to ensure the best response for any future outbreaks.
We actually need policy change. I know we're talking about having a rapid response, the Cairngorm pilot, but if there's not policy change to allow that rapid response to happen on public land, then that's a barrier and that policy change needs to happen.
A warning of a very high risk of wildfire for many parts of Scotland has been extended into the rest of the week. Nicola McCally, ITV News.
Well, emergency crews are still battling a large wildfire in southeast Wales, which broke out the weekend. Fire crews were initially called to the Blaenavon area in Torfaen just before 9 p.m. on Sunday. Drone vision shows the extent of the fire, which is now spread across 80 hectares. The South Wales Fire and Rescue Service is advising residents and businesses affected by smoke to keep their windows and doors shut. The recent extreme weather is having a severe impact affecting water supplies and food production, the National Drought Group has heard. The lack of rain and the heat are pushing demand for water up by 30% on the hottest days. Indeed, it's been so dry this month that England has only received 3% of its long-term average rainfall for July so far. Well, it all came as Thames Water became the latest water company to impose hosepipe bans on millions of its customers, and we'll have more on that in just a moment. But first, here's our science correspondent, Martin Stew.
With the exception of 1 week in June, it hasn't rained at all since February in this scorched section of Suffolk. At Wantersden Hall Farm, drooping crops are an early sign of drought.
This is a potato crop which we've had to unfortunately prioritise water elsewhere, so it's now deteriorating and dying, and unfortunately we're going to have to harvest it early.
And that means smaller potatoes?
Smaller potatoes, reduce yield at the end of the day, yeah.
Our country is facing a double whammy. The longest dry spell since 1995, combined with a 30% increase in water demand during the heat waves.
We're probably half what we normally would be.
What happens when that runs out?
Then we're in trouble, real trouble, because we have no other reserves realistically.
Last week, 3 areas of the UK were classified as in prolonged dry weather, the designation just below full drought. That's now been updated to cover 8 regions. Hosepipe or temporary usage bans are already in place in much of south, central and eastern England and parts of Wales. From Thursday, Thames Water's 10 million customers will face restrictions too.
Many reservoirs appear to have plenty of water in because charged up by one of the wettest winters on record. But look closer, you'll see this one near Ipswich is just 3/4 full. Levels aren't as low as they were this time last year when it was an official drought, but they're below what they should be and they're falling fast.
What we do need to do is to work together to make sure there's enough water for drinking, for use in our homes, for farming and for the environment. And the key message, I think, for everybody is that every drop that you save from your tap is another drop in the environment.
At Swan's Nursery, they're trying to do just that. even though businesses are exempt from restrictions.
We have to be careful with the amount we're using. Everything's timed very carefully to irrigate at night to make sure we don't get any evaporation or water losses like that.
For the public, the ban means no hose pipes at all for car washing, paddling pools or the garden.
The tomatoes are suffering. I've got 2 water butts which have now dried out.
The lawn is dead, the plants have given themselves up, so I'm just waiting for it to rain, but we don't think we're getting any.
Forecasters say there'll be precious little for at least a week. Martin Stew, ITV News, Suffolk.
Well, millions of Thames Water customers will be impacted by a new hosepipe ban. The company supplies drinking water to more than 10 million homes across London and the Thames Valley. Well, our West of England reporter Sangeeta Lal is in Gloucestershire. So, Sangeeta, explain, what are the restrictions?
Well, it means from Thursday, no pressure washers, no sprinklers. As you heard in Martin's report, hosepipes should not be used to clean cars, to water gardens or to fill paddling pools. Now, this is because Thames Water say they're trying to protect water supplies because reservoir levels are lower than they should be for this time of year. Through spring, the region saw just 40% of its usual rainfall, and the heat has meant some households have used about 50% more water, which means that they need to now concentrate on the fact that this is having a significant impact to water resources. And this is obviously a company that's experiencing significant financial pressures too. Thames Water has some record fines. Last year, the regulator Ofwat fined them £123 million, and the company's about £20 billion in debt. You can see some people enjoying the water at the moment because the temperature is hot. It's due to get even hotter. Now, today it's emerged the company lenders are considering offering the government something that's called a golden share, which will essentially give the Secretary of State more power over how the company operates. Well, the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, believes that public ownership is Thames Valley's best solution. And he has repeatedly said that renationalising is in the public interest.
OK, Sangeeta Lal in Gloucestershire, thank you.